All right, we're recording. Lexi, thanks for being on the Heart Dealer podcast. Only episode number 6. So you're very new to this process, as am I. Thanks for your time
I
today.
love it. Thank you for having me today.
No problem. Uh, the word that keeps coming up on all the podcasts, I think I'll just start there, is authentic. So be you. Do nothing other than be you. And it's funny that that's where I'm starting because as I was putting together my notes for this chat, it was kind of tough to find a deep amount of information online. I got as much as I could, but the thing that was coming up a lot that I don't want to I don't want to give everything away right now because I want to talk about your origins and upcoming work and all that fun stuff. But the thing that kept coming up the most was it seemed like trauma and mental health in the music and in the art, like the reason behind the songs, reason behind that. Uh, your music is like cathartic for you? I mean, as it is for many artists, but like what inspires you to make your music?
I think my music, no, I know my music just comes from a lot of real experiences. I don't like to write or sing anything that isn't real. I'm a very blunt, authentic person, and I really don't know how to be anybody else but myself. I'm kind of unhinged in that way. I think as an artist, being honest and upfront and unapologetically your true self is so important. And I think my music speaks a lot of that for sure.
So why don't we go backwards in order to go forwards? I love getting history as much as current events. So where were you born? Like what was your family life?
Yeah.
Who was the person before the screaming and the tattoos?
Yeah, so I was born in Jersey, only child. I lived in New York till I was about like 3, 4. My upbringing was really in South Florida. And I got into musical theater at a very young age. I was around like 5.5, 6. And I just loved performing and, being in my room by myself and writing little poems and, blasting music. And I had a strobe light that I would like make dances to, and I just loved having the spotlight on me. So I got really into musical theater. It was around 9 that I landed my first lead in a musical, and I didn't know that I could sing. I actually had a vocal coach that told me that I could not sing to my face as a 9 year old. Um, and I was just kind of confused. I was trying to find my path. Again, 9 is such a young age. You're learning what you like, what you don't like.
Yeah.
Super close with my mom. My dad was a raging alcoholic and drug addict. So he was very consistently inconsistent in my life, which I'm sure we'll get into because that's where my newest single, The Devil, stems from. It's about my father. Um, and yeah, I had a really like interesting childhood. Like I grew up in a loving house with my mother, but there was this like very dark side, and things that I hid. And I didn't know if what was going on in my household was normal. Like all of my friends were, with a happy, loving family. Their mommy and daddy loved each other, and my parents were like not like that at all. So I feel like music for me was like a really big outlet, and just writing poems. And I had this big mirror in my room, and I would always just like sing to myself. It was almost like I found music soothing, and I would like soothe myself in that way, if that makes sense. And then I moved to Los Angeles, very, very fast forward. Moved to Los Angeles about like 8 years ago. And, my whole life in South Florida, I recorded, I worked with, big people and just was trying to make it. And I told myself if by age like 26, 27, nothing happens in South Florida, I'm packing my shit and I'm moving to LA and I'm going to figure it out. And that's what I did. Booked a one-way ticket, put my car on a train and flew here and slept on a friend's couch for 4 months and just started to figure shit out. And it's cool to look back and see how far I've come and what I've done in just the 8 years of being here. Um, so yeah, that's like the quickest little backstory of my life.
I appreciate it, and I want to talk about it more. But just for timeline purposes, you said 8 years ago. So was that like around the time that the Darkness of Your Heart, your first single dropped? Like that was 2019, I
Yeah,
think.
so I moved here, I think it was May 2018. And I
Okay.
released my first single here, The Darkness of Your Heart, with a friend of mine that I met here in the bar industry. I was bartending here, and he's like, "Hey, I do music. You have a really sick voice. I think we should do something." And I'm like, "Well, I have all these songs, and I need somebody to do the actual music for me." And yeah, and we created that, which also stemmed into my first EP, Sinner and Saint. Um, and then yeah, my journey just continued.
So did you have music that was out before? Because I mean, when I go to Spotify, as many people do, uh, that single is the first one, right? At least in terms of like the Lexi Layne profile now. Was there a whole bunch of stuff before that you pulled, or what's the music story?
So when I was 14, I started working with two producers in South Florida, and I did have like a really small EP. It's actually on Apple Music. There's a couple songs on there, but they never made it to like Spotify. I think this was before like Spotify ever even existed. Um,
Mm.
so I did have my own original music out technically before Darkness, but this was kind of like the rebrand. Age 14 and 16 is so different than your late 20s, and I didn't want to carry that with me. I wanted to like do a completely new rebrand is what I did.
I mean, that makes sense. One of our companies, V13 Promotions, does artist development, and we're really kind of like we're a boutique service. We try to offer the full experience. So label services, marketing, branding, mental health, the list management, the list goes on. And branding is so important. And the number of artists that go into a campaign are like, okay, well, this is what this single looks like, and this artwork is this, and the album is this, and the tour poster is totally different. No one sees any consistent messaging from a visual perspective. And I think that's super important because then you get like eras in someone's career,
Yeah.
just like you're talking about, like 14, 18, 18, and so on. And I'm sure it'll continue to evolve and change, right, as your career goes and as you
Yeah,
grow.
100%. And that's the cool thing is like life is every day is a new opportunity to learn something and to grow. And, I don't know what I'll put out in the next, 3 to 10 years. Who knows? I'm just kind of going with what feels right and with my intuition, and just being really authentic in the process is really important for me.
100%. Go with the flow. I
Yeah.
mean, these guys sing about it,
Yeah.
right? Go with the flow. So how'd you get from New Jersey to Florida?
I was literally just born in a New Jersey hospital, and then my whole family lives in New York. And at the time, my dad got a really great job offer in Florida. So my mom's like, "All right, fuck it, we're moving to Florida." And yeah, and that's what we did. But from like 4 to 10, my mom and I, we would always go back up and visit upstate New York because my a lot of my family was still up there. We had no family at the time in Florida. It was just me, my father, and my mother.
Mm. Excuse me. Cool. You mentioned like earlier that you would kind of, I guess, not necessarily run away, but use music as an escape when you were younger.
Hmm.
Is that accurate?
Yeah, yeah, 100%.
And then you also said that like you really found your voice, and then you liked performing, you like being the focus, the attentive. I'm curious to know about like, the psychology behind that. So we could talk about the difference between the two, like that running away from something, using focus, or the music to go away, to be alone, but then also liking the limelight. Talk about that dichotomy. Because I think in that question is this cool thing in your music that's presenting over and over is this dichotomy, right? There's the heaven and hell, a sinner and the saint.
Yeah, I feel like being younger, music was always there. It was like the one thing that was consistent in my life. And as a child, again, like I said, there was a lot of inconsistency. Um, I think performing music, especially musical theater, I loved being in that spotlight because I was playing a character where like I was kind of like hiding my true self, you know? And I found a thrill in that of like, okay, I'm, doing whatever show and this is my character, so I can really dive deep in that and I can have everybody watch me, but not everyone's watching me like write my like sad music when I'm sitting alone in my room crying at like age 12, you know? So I feel like it's just really different. Um I always just felt like in the most humble way like I just shined the most when I was on stage. There's just like, and still to this day too, I just feel like being on the stage with a spotlight right in front of me, like that is home for me. That is my happy place. And I feel like I'm being my most unapologetic, authentic self when I'm performing. And I feel like a lot of years in musical theater has helped me prep for the way that I perform now as an artist. Um, so yeah, it's kind. I guess it like it is kind of what you said. It's that like sinner and saint. Like I'm being authentic but like playing a part in a way. So I feel like now being in my 30s, I've taken like my trauma and my music that's so authentic and now I'm performing it, but I'm performing it as me. Whereas like when I was younger, I was separating the two, playing a character in
Right.
musical theater and then just writing music that helped soothe me as a kid.
And therein lies kind of also another battle, right? Because I think a lot of people will, through their art, express that pain and deal with things that way, but not necessarily heal because they're expressing it, they're letting it out, but maybe they're not quite understanding what caused it. Do you do other things, or have you done other things? Therapy, yoga, meditation,
No.
anything for mental health?
Yeah, yeah. I was in therapy a lot when I was younger. And I did 9 months of like I guess it was like meditation slash Reiki healing. I worked with like a one-on-one coach, and for 9 months straight, like that was my focus. Like I didn't date anybody. I was single. I wasn't really doing anything crazy. I mean, I don't really do anything crazy. Like I don't drink heavily. I don't do any drugs. Like I've never been like that. But it was 9 months where I was just focused on my healing and really pulling out the trauma that I needed to, and also like working, with my producer on music, and my producer Kevin McCombs, he's amazing, being so understanding. He really helped me too. Like I feel like our sessions with writing became like therapy sessions because he'd be like, "All right, well tell me how you're feeling. Like how do you want to express this?" I feel like going through something really traumatic, like sometimes it's really hard to speak on it yourself. So it helps when you're working with somebody that's like, "All right, well let me help you get this out on paper. Like how can we make this captivating but also you're still telling your story?" And I'm very spiritual. I'm very big on, meditation and yoga, and self-love I think is so important. And I think
Yeah.
people get that mixed up too, like self-love and then being like cocky or narcissistic. Like that's not what self-love is. Like you have to give yourself love in order to give, love to your friends and family and your fans and, other people out there. It's really important.
I totally agree. I mean, I'm 45 and I lived a long time, did a lot of things to only learn recently that um, I'm a giving person. I love to help others, but I would always let my cup run dry and then burn out and lash out and be whatever, short, have a temper, not maybe not a temper, but like have a short fuse. And I didn't realize that it was because I was burnt out and I was letting myself burn out. And that ironically, if I selfishly give myself self love and take care of myself and fill my cup, then I'll actually be able to help more people because I'm not going to get the burnout.
Yeah. So true.
Uh,
You just nailed it on the head.
yeah. Um, I love the conversation. What led you to metalcore and hard rock?
Growing up, I feel like I was really diverse with music. I feel like I always listened to vocalists that my vocals resonated with. I listened to a lot of like Christina Aguilera and Shaka Khan and Aretha Franklin and Pat Benatar and, Paramore, Haley Williams, Amy Lee. Um, I think there's something so special in like deep lyrics with a hard sound, an aggressive sound behind that. I just felt like my performing skills resonated the most with that like metal rock genre. And when I was younger, getting into like my own music at that young age, like 14, 16, I was doing more like pop rock. And I wanted that like nitty gritty, more powerfulness. And yeah, it really wasn't until like I did Darkness of Your Heart, I feel like that started to pave the way where I'm like, all right, I'm going down a darker, harder lane and I'm resonating with it more. So I think we're going to keep driving down this lane.
So you just said Lane twice. What's the relevance of the name Lane and Lexi
So
Layne?
my middle name is actually Lane, Layne. It's my real, it's on my birth certificate, Lane.
So nothing, nothing with paths or choosing paths.
No, it's funny too because like sometimes I'll use that as like example, that verbiage as an example, and people are like, yeah, it's Lexi's Lane, and I'm like, yeah, it's so funny. But it is funny, like so sometimes I'll just use that, and people get a kick out of it. But yeah, no, it's just actually my real middle name.
So it's not like my dad named me after the lead singer from Alice in
No,
Chains.
no. I mean, I guess the backstory behind it is my grandmother on my mother's side. Her name is Elaine, and my godmother's middle name is Lane after her. So I technically just have the same middle name as my godmother, is what it is.
All
Yeah,
good. Carry on the
yeah.
name. Musical theater before music or theater in general. Like, do you miss theater? Is that something that you still pursue or that you would want to continue pursuing? Or are you just fully entrenched in music now?
I feel like musical theater has and will always be such a big part of my life, and I do incorporate a lot of like theatrics in my performance now. I've been told from viewers and fans like you're just so theatrical on stage. So it's cool to bring that essence into my performances now. I do miss it. I do miss doing like a live musical, kind of show and you're playing a character. I think in the future I would still love to like attempt an audition for Broadway or, something along those lines. Um, and sometimes I still do find myself like I'll put on, like Wicked or like one of the shows I was in and I'll just sing in the car, and because that's my roots. My roots is musical theater, and you can never get rid of your roots. They're always there. And I'm so grateful too that my mom was really good with that. Like I'd be like, "Mom, I want to do this." And she'd be like, "Okay, yeah, let's do it. Go." And I competed and I traveled, and I was in thespians in high school, and it was just a really cool experience. So, yeah, I would love to dive back into it one day, 100%.
Cool. One of our mottos with V13 Media Group, and just for those that don't know, V13 is it's leet speak. It's the internet language of mixing numbers and letters. So V13 is just the French word V, life. Because for me and other people out there, music is life, right? Nietzsche, the philosopher, once said, "Without music, life would be meaningless." So that's kind of where that started. And one of the slogans or sayings we have internally is love and logic, right? So everything we do is based in love, and then we layer on logic, and you get the full picture of the meaning of life and how things should be built or created from the heart. So where I'm going with this is you have a heart on your neck with a sword through it, and your first single is The Darkness of Your Heart. Talk to me about your heart.
I feel like one thing like in my life so far is like I've always been really true to myself, and I've always followed my heart. Like I always say like I'm always going to do it whether it's right or wrong. Like if it feel not like that sounds so wrong saying it. Like I'm not going to do anything bad, but like if it resonates with me in my heart and I feel that it's correct, I'm going to do it. And I think you have to take risks in life to get rewarded. And I think that also kind of ties in with like listening to my heart. Like, I've taken a lot of risks in my life, and some were bad and some were good, but I don't regret anything. I think it's just being true to your authentic self, and if it feels right, then do it.
Do you think you got that like from an early age onward, from like maybe a protective mechanism from the stuff that was happening at home?
Yeah, I feel like it happened at a really young age. Like, again, I was an only child. I didn't have any brothers or sisters to lean on. Like, when everything was getting really chaotic in my household, I had myself. And I feel like I became my own best friend. Like, I would talk to myself a lot, which I still do. I think that's really healthy. To have a really like healthy rapport with yourself, to check in with yourself. So yeah, I feel like I grew up really fast, which sometimes I feel like is good, and then sometimes I feel like is bad. Like, I missed out on certain things as a like being an actual kid, but I feel like I became my own protector at a really young age, and very like alpha female, and have to look out for myself kind of deal, because I feel like at times no one else was. If that makes sense.
Mhm. As a woman, as a human being, I guess in general, do you feel like it makes you more protective of like your heart and your love, having gone through those things and then become your own guardian? Like I don't know, I don't assume anything, but like in the dating world, do you like keep people away because you don't want to let people in as easily because of the
Yeah,
guardian,
it's
or
it's funny you say that, because for a very long time I was very like this with men. Um, like, I would have guys tell me like, you're so intimidating, you're really hard to crack. Like, relationships weren't lasting because I was just very hard exterior. I didn't want to let anybody in. And it really wasn't until my partner now that really cracked everything for me, and like really taught me that it's okay to be soft and I can be vulnerable, and that like I'm in a safe place. And I think that's what it takes, especially like, we can just call it daddy issues, having daddy issues. I think it really takes a man making a woman feel, or anybody making anybody feel, just in a safe environment. And that was the thing, is I never felt safe until my partner came into my life. And I find myself in ways now almost acting like a kid again. Like, I don't know if you remember, but like I said, I feel like I lost things as a kid, like growing up so fast, that I feel like now I can act like a little girl sometimes, that I was never able to act that way as a kid. Because he's created such a safe, like comforting environment for me.
that's really beautiful. Thank you for sharing. I agree with you. It's you want to feel safe, you want to feel supported, you want to feel loved, and in doing so, your powers almost get activated. You know what I mean? Like, I'm in a relationship now, and it's the first time I feel like in my life where I really feel like I've been put on a pedestal. Like, I've never been adored as much as I'm being adored now. And then that makes me like into this crazy alpha male who's like, I can conquer
Yeah.
anything because, and then you end up reciprocating that, right? You
Yeah.
reciprocate that energy.
It's a healthy
I also
flow.
have,
It's a healthy flow.
it is. And I mean, you said it earlier, you don't want to fall into like narcissism or like ego and get full of yourself, but it's important to get that validation and support to feel that way. And sure, people could argue that it all comes from within, but sometimes you lose the within, right? You need someone to kind of see that, to be there, and then you remember why you loved yourself and blah blah
Yeah,
blah.
it's very true.
I I have a daughter and a stepdaughter, and for me it's so important to make sure that they're getting the love, validation, and affirmation that they deserve now, so that they grow up to be strong, confident women
Yeah.
like yourself now, and not have to necessarily endure all of that learning and the life lumps on the way, right?
Yeah. Give them an easier life. It's important.
Hopefully. Let's talk about the devil. I mean, I want to talk about your album and in general and upcoming work and all that stuff, but let's stay on this topic of hurt and all heartbreak, the devil is well, you basically said it's about your dad.
Yeah, it's about my father and all the singles I've put out so far. There's obviously a theme. There's a whole tarot card theme, which is what the
Yeah.
whole EP is, which we'll be releasing soon. Um, and I remember sitting with my producer Kevin, and he's like, "All right, well, we got to do the devil." And I was like, "Yeah, and it has to be about my father." And it's weird. It's like it's about my father, but like it's for me. Like this song was for me. um it was very cathartic writing this song and doing the video and releasing it. I just wanted to put viewers in that really like uncomfortable, eerie place, and I think just the first like four bars of the music, you feel it. You're like, okay, something feels like uncomfortable. And I wanted that
Hmm.
because like that's how my father made me feel my whole life. Just very uncomfortable, very unsafe. Like I just never had this resonating relationship with him. It was just always really off and weird. And I wanted to bring that into the song.
There. Ha- um, have you mended fences with him or anything, or how is relationship now?
Non-existent. Um there's been a couple times, he'll try to reach out through my mother, and there's some snarky, like selfish back passive aggressive backhanded kind of thing. And it's sad because it's like I'm an only child, and like people tell you, oh, your family's everything, which like I do agree, but like my friends have become my family. And I've just realized like I stay in a better place mentally and spiritually when that person is not in my life. And
Mhm.
they say blood is blood, but like it doesn't mean that person has to be in your life.
Yeah.
And that's it goes back to like he was always consistently inconsistent in my life. And again, now having like a amazing partner in my life too, I feel like that kind of makes up for it in some kind of weird way, that I'm really all set. I'm really good without that in my life.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with everything that you said there. I think it comes down to balance because yes, blood is blood, but um, you maybe have heard the expression that the people you surround yourself with or the people you keep, that's where you are, right? So if you surround yourself with high achievers, then you're going to be a high achiever. If you surround yourself with people who are smoking pot and playing video games, not that there's anything wrong with that once in a while, but that's what you're going to end up being at. And if there are people in your family that are not allowing you to grow, I don't think it makes sense to hold on.
Yeah, I don't.
Do you wanna help sometimes and, like, wish them the best and see them succeed? Sure, but at some point, you have to also say, like, "You gotta do this on your own because it's not my job to help you
Correct.
change your
And
life."
that's what it was really turning into. And again, it took me to like my late 20s, early 30s to realize like, oh, this is like a toxic pattern. Like he's only coming around when he needs something or when he needs validation for himself through me. Like, oh, I'm being a good father. And it's like, no, you're not. But like, sure, maybe he's trying to be. And I'm very forgiving. I'm very open and very down to earth and easy to talk to. And there was a point that I just realized like I'm being used in this weird subconscious like fucked up way, and I don't
Mhm.
like the anxiety like was so real that I'm like I'm vibrating on such a higher level and he's here that it's like it's bringing my vibration down and it's ruining my
Yeah.
life. Even with him being across the country, it just was not working for me.
I like that you mentioned vibrations because 'cause I'm all about keeping it on a
You
high
have
frequency,
to. I'm telling you, I'm sorry, but like when you are vibrating on a certain level and someone's not, they're going to be taken away out of your life. Like it's just going to happen. I've seen it my entire life with friends, people, family. It's true. It's true.
Which, I mean, I'm probably an idiot for not having looked into this before, but my brain just said, "Isn't it weird that we're supposed to be aligning ourselves with high vibrational, frequency people, but we love heavy metal and like drum and bass and like bass heavy music, which is low frequency. What's the deal? What's the deal with
I
that?"
don't know. I don't know if I don't know, maybe it's for all of us trauma people. We like to tap in once in a blue moon and then we're like, but look at me, I'm spiritual. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's something like that.
Good for you for sharing and being so transparent. I mean, it sounds like this song was, part of your healing journey. Um, Forgiveness, which we know is more for us than the other person. How do you feel about everything now? Do you feel like it's mostly in the past, or?
Um, I mean, I feel like trauma, especially like childhood trauma, it's always with you, but it doesn't make you who you are now. I feel like the day the song released, like I wasn't upset, I wasn't mad. I felt this like huge weight off my chest where I'm like, it's out there and I hope he hears it. And if he doesn't, I also don't care if he does because this was for me.
Mhm.
So yeah, there was a lot of healing behind the song and I just kind of felt good about releasing it, and I think the biggest thing for me was how many people I got DMs from or, messages saying like thank you, like I went through XYZ and this song helped me. And that is what I'm here to do as an artist. I'm here to sing about shit that I've gone through so that, you know, Joe and Sally can listen to my song and be like, this helped me get through this. I
Yeah.
want people to take my story and put their own story on it while listening to resonate with it and then heal from it. That's my whole purpose as an artist.
I love that. I agree. It's funny because I don't know if it's societal or what, but we've kind of been conditioned to think that talking about a lot of things is taboo, right? Like being manly and being emotional used to be taboo.
Hmm.
Um, but you and I, having gone through some of these things, know that it's the opposite. You're stronger for having dealt with this shit. Doesn't mean it goes away, but it no longer defines you. Now it's just a part of the overall picture of who you are.
Yeah, and I think that's why I've had a lot of people tell me, like, oh, you're so open. Like, isn't that weird? And I'm like, no, it's not. Because I've held so much shit in for so long, my entire life, that it was just rotting inside me. So I might as well just let it out and help somebody else that maybe doesn't feel like they have the voice to speak about it like I do now.
But most people don't have that same degree of courage, right? Like most people avoid even the slightest of confrontation, like
Yeah.
talking to the cash register person or the whoever. It's oh my god, I interact with another human.
Yeah.
So I think it's important for us to show that it's not a big deal and that you too can get through this. You're absolutely right. Um, which is funny because that song you said represents a duality, and we talked earlier about duality. On the other hand, it's about on one hand, sorry, it's about vulnerability, and then on the other hand, it's coming to terms with your own power. You know what you control. So, do you feel like there was a I guess we kind of talked about it with your music, whatnot, like the pivot from the scared little girl to the empowered young woman. Was there a specific time where you felt that happen?
Um, I feel like it really started like with Serpent, which was like I guess my first single of like the rebrand. Um, I went through a lot of dark shit in 2020 that I just needed to cope with myself, and that's where the 9 months of like working with a spiritual healer came in. I feel like that was kind of the turning point where it was like, all right, I'm shedding this skin. I'm not this person anymore. And then right after that was the High Priestess. Like that was such a uplifting experience for me because I feel like I really embodied that. Like that was where I was like, okay, I am my own high priestess. Like I know who I am as a woman. I know what I want. I know what I deserve. I'm here and I'm just going to go after it now. So yeah, I feel like there's this pattern in my music where it's like, old things I've been through, scared little girl, but then female empowerment and being strong and like standing up for what you believe in. So yeah, I feel like there's this constant duality of I'm scared, I'm here, I'm scared, I'm here. And again, that's just me singing about, real shit that's happened that I want to, express.
Yeah. I mean, I've been through a lot in the last couple of years and a lot of healing, a lot of personal growth, lot of amends making as well for things that I've done. I think one of the things that was so important for me was to start to really appreciate myself and understand who I am. Because I've always been like a good guy and I've always had like these lofty goals and I feel like I'm this, I feel like I'm that. But I didn't spend enough time saying, uh, I am
Yeah.
this, I am that. You know what I mean? Um, so it sounds like you have been using a lot of this stuff to start to just embody more and more of who you are versus what you were and where you want to go.
Correct. And it's a journey. I mean, we're all human. We have days we struggle. Like those days I'm like, I'm not doing enough. And then there's days I'm like, wow, I've done a lot of fucking shit. And I'm really proud of myself. Just depends on the day. Like, but I think it's really important to remember to just be gentle with yourself, and if you have dreams, go after them and don't stop. Because I didn't. And I'm really happy with where I'm at right now and where I continue to head.
Yeah, I agree. Don't stop. I mean, I'm an artist in the sense that I'm an entrepreneur and doing all these different businesses and helping artists. And that hustle, it can't turn off. You got to keep
Yeah.
going, and eventually you get there.
Yeah.
I like to have what I call present hindsight. Some people call it situational awareness. Like being more aware currently of all the things that are going on or have happened to keep fueling you to go ahead. It's so easy to forget like all the accomplishments and what I did 9 months ago. But if you keep tabs, yeah, usually you look back on it and you're like, oh, I've done a
Yeah.
lot. Let's just keep
Yeah.
grinding. Speaking of that, I love to get insight, into the artist's mind for artists that we work with, as well as just for artists in general. I think it's so important to give back and offer free content as much as paid services are helpful. Like, give as much as you
Mhm.
can. Tell me a bit about your artistic journey, like negative experiences, positive experiences, could be anything. Label experience, that one producer who screwed you over until you realized that this producer was better. Or have you just been, super lucky? I think you mentioned a guy named Ryan. Um, was it Ryan
Oh,
McCombs?
Kevin.
No,
Kevin McCombs. Yeah.
Kevin.
Kevin.
Sorry. I'm thinking about different
Kevin.
McCombs.
Yeah, Kevin McCombs is my producer now. I met him through a friend of mine, and at the time he was looking for new artists to work with, and he's like, "All right, well, I'm gonna come see you perform." And I remember it was my first performance in LA at the Viper Room as like the Lexi Layne band. And he came and watched me and he's like, I love your music. I love your sound. Like, send me ideas. And I sent him ideas. Like, Serpent was in there. Some other songs that are on, like, later out EP were on there. And he's like, I love it. Let's just run with it. And we started working on Serpent first. And he's like, fuck it. Let's do, like, a whole album. Um, and we've just been working together for the past 3 years. And I've worked with a lot of producers in my life, but there's something really special about Kevin, the way he like understands my mind. And there was just one day we had a session and he's like, "All right, tell me everything you've been through." And we just sat for like 3 hours and talked about like all of I just trauma dumped. I felt so bad, but I just trauma dumped on him. And he's like, "No, this is good because like I need to understand you so that we can like write together. I can't like I got to get in there and understand what's going on." And he really just takes the time to understand what I'm feeling, and we just work really, really well together, and super grateful to have him in my life. And other producers I've worked with too. Clint Fowler, he was the one I did Darkness with and the first EP, and Clint was a good friend of mine, and we're still friends. And he just kind of took himself out of the music scene, so he went just like a different way. But I always say like everything is a stepping stone in life. And like if I didn't have that first EP, Sinner and Saint, that Clint did with me, I don't know if Kevin would have been interested in working with me. I don't know. Um, Funny backstory, but before I moved here, I was visiting and I met with like a manager, producer, but they were more like hip hop R&B. And they're like, "Oh, you have such a soulful voice. Like, let's take you that way." And at the time, I was like, "I just need to get my ass out to LA. Like, You know, I feel like LA can be so intimidating, but it's like where everyone wants to be because it's where opportunity happens. So he's like, all right,
Mhm.
well, like, I need you to move out here next month. Like, I'm going to fly you out here. And that's how I got out to LA so quick. Um, I started working on music, but it was like hip hop, pop, R&B, and I just was not resonating with it at all. They're like, we need you to write 5 songs and then like just go in the studio and record it. And it was just the most half-ass shit. Like I wrote these 5 songs, I went to the studio, like recorded like 3 of them in one day, and like I just felt so rushed. It was, you could tell they just wanted like a product, these people. Um and I went through about like 4 or 5 managers the first like 2 months I was here. Like it was insane. And that's when I like was like, all right, I'm not doing this music anymore. This is not me. I want to take my soulful voice and put it into more of like a, metal direction. And then that's when all of that started to come. Sorry, I took you like a
Yeah.
loop around.
No, no, no. I love it. That's the point of this conversation. I don't want to do interviews. I just want to have conversations
Yeah.
with cool people and see what comes out. It sounds like you got super lucky in meeting Kevin because, like we've said multiple times, authenticity is key, right? Keeping it real is key, and this industry is known for a lot of phonies and a lot of people to take advantage of. I'm not going to ask like how you met Kevin or how can someone meet someone nice like Kevin. I'm going to instead say like you went through a lot of managers and you changed your direction. What do you think artists should avoid? What should they do in order to end up in the position you're in, which is I'm doing what I want with who I want.
I feel like when you're first starting out, like one thing I realize is like do it yourself, especially when you're first starting out. Like create your own brand, create your own sound. Yes, of course there were people around me like helping me, but I knew what I wanted. I knew what I wanted my brand to look like. And again, you're in LA. There are a lot of phonies. Hey, I can give you this and this and get you on this tour, and like it's all this. It's all bullshit, like most of the time, because everybody wants a piece. And that was the thing, is like I
Yeah.
really started from the ground and built myself up to where I am now by myself, and then along the way like meeting these amazing people that I have met. Like I will say I have been so blessed with like everybody that's in the Lexi Layne camp. Like everyone is so real and like so passionate about the project, just as much as I am. And I think that's something to look out for as a brand new artist. Make sure you surround yourself with people that love your project just as much as you do, or at least
Yeah.
somewhere around that, because then you're not going to be, taken advantage of and taken for granted. Like, so I feel like I did get lucky in that way with, having good people around me.
What about when it comes to music creation, social media, defining your
Mhm.
brand? Um, what are the ways that I guess you found were most successful or most true to yourself?
Just being true to myself. Like my whole, Instagram and everything I've created myself. And obviously it's so different than it was like 10 years ago. You have TikTok now and doing the trends, and sometimes I'll hop on the trends for like, for fun and whatever, but sometimes I realize just like sitting in front of my fireplace with like a microphone and just singing something a cappella, sometimes that gets the most views because I'm just being authentic, and people just want to hear, raw vocals sometimes instead of something being so overly produced or whatever.
Mhm.
So I think with social media, it's so important nowadays. You have to have it to be an artist or a band. Um, and consistency. Like you have to be consistent with your posting. It's literally a whole other job. It really is,
Yeah.
and it's a lot. And I think that's why for like the weekends, I'll put my phone on do not disturb because I'm like I just need to zone out and have my own time. But during the week, it's constant grind time of creating content and posting and going live, interacting with fans. I just think it's really important.
Yeah, I totally agree. I would actually love to talk about that a bit more because one of the things that we try to tell our artists a lot is you have to be consistent with the creation. And I know that it's tough and everyone's trying to game the system and beat the algorithm and have their video blow up. But there's no magic formula other than create the content consistently and just keep getting it out the door. And eventually something will stick, maybe with a small part of your audience first and then expand, and then you can hone in more. Do you find that the same?
Yeah, yeah, um I think I've found that more with TikTok. Like I feel like I really started doing TikTok stuff like maybe 6, 7 months ago because I just was not a fan of it. I'm like, I'm just an Instagram girl. I don't need to jump on this Gen Z trend, but I needed to, and I did. But the growth has been insane, and I think there was like one day I just took my phone and I sang like a Christina Aguilera song a cappella right here, and just it went off like comments, everything, and I'm like, all right, well, it's just that easy. So if I mix that with the trends and then posting videos of me singing and stuff, like that's gonna eventually pop off. And it's just being, again, authentic and being consistent. Don't necessarily like do it the way someone else is doing it, because your brand is not like anybody else's. Just do it the way that you want to.
Yeah. Isn't it crazy how easy life is sometimes and we just overcomplicate everything?
Right.
I mean, I remember Cobain, once saying like, "I'd rather be dead than cool." That was a famous quote of his, and it took me a long time to realize that it's not that he didn't want to be cool; it's that his definition of cool was being a contrived individual, not being authentic to yourself. So he was so cool because he didn't give a
Yeah.
fuck because he was just Kurt Cobain. Everyone thought that was cool, so I want to be like Kurt, not realizing you should just be like yourself.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. It's again, it's I feel like our whole theme of this interview is like being authentic and raw and just like being yourself. And it's true, like people are gonna resonate with someone who's being really real instead of maybe someone being like fake or trying to overdo it. Like, don't overdo it.
Mhm.
Just be real.
Yeah, I mean, and if it's real to you and it's a shtick, then stick with it. That's okay. Like if you're super theatrical and I mean, I'm drawing a bad example blank right
I was
now, but
like,
like
I
let's
get
say
like
Alice
that too.
Cooper.
I get very theatrical.
But that's okay, right? Like some Alice Cooper was super popular for a
Yeah.
reason, and he really fell into that, larger than life stage presence and everything. But he also really loved a lot of the stuff that inspired that. There's so many people that I don't like Kiss. I've never liked Kiss. I don't get their music, but I get the entertainment. I get the theatrics. I get all the things behind
Yeah.
it. And I would hope that a lot of the people that are, I mean, like Scott Ian from Anthrax, they're inspired by that, and you can see that in their work. Or you can see that I grew up loving horror movies and horror films, and so that infuses the live version or the music, not infuses, informs, sorry, the live version or whatnot. So like your tattoos, your style, your hair, everything, that's authentically you, and that together puts together this larger image that happens to have this cool dichotomy of push and pull and hell and heaven behind it based on childhood.
Yeah.
So I don't know, why don't you give me something fun? What's one thing that no one knows about you?
Um,
You only eat cereal,
no.
nothing
I am a
else.
health freak. I mean, I've said it before on like little like facts about me. Like I'm such a health freak. Like I love vitamins and juicing and taking care of my body, and working out I think is so important. I've always been like that. I'm also a clean freak. I hate when shit is out of place. I'm a Virgo, so like we're perfectionists, so like everything has to be in order all the time. I hate mess. It drives me insane. Um, I also really love cooking. Cooking, growing up, my mom was a very, very big cook, and she was always in the kitchen. So I feel like that was like me and her time together was always in the kitchen. So I feel like I've taken that, and that's become like my sanity and my quiet time, my me time is I'll just put like on a podcast or some like chill lo-fi music and just kind of like cook up a storm. And that's been really relaxing for me the past like 4 months, I would say. I find more love in just being with myself and cooking alone in the kitchen.
What do you cook? What's your go-to food
Um,
or
so
cuisine?
I'm Spanish and Italian, so I love to make like chicken cutlets and like pasta alla vodka, lasagna, salmon. I like to try new recipes. Like I don't know, it kind of just depends what I'm in the mood for or like who I'm cooking for. But I do like to try new things, and it makes me feel really good when I cook something yummy and whoever I'm cooking for is like, "Oh god, this is amazing." Like I like to please in that way and like make people enjoy what they're eating.
Absolutely. What's funny is I used to always hate cooking.
Yeah.
It's still not my favorite thing to do, but the thing that I learned over the last couple of years was that it's not about, oh my God, I spent an hour making this thing and someone ate it in 2 seconds. It's just about creation, right? Cooking is creation. It's like you make a painting, no one ever sees it, but for you, making that painting felt so good and you wanted to do it. It's the same thing. It's
Yeah.
almost, I mean, I guess it's an art,
It's
right?
definitely an art. It's another creative outlet, and like I've been told I cook with a lot of love. Like I don't do the whole like, oh, I need 1 cup of this. No, I just like freeball everything. I don't measure. I just do what like feels right. And for some reason it always comes out really good. So I'll just keep just keep doing that.
Do you have cooking on your socials? Is that the next
I
thing?
don't. I don't. I feel like
I'm just saying.
I feel like if anything, I'd maybe bring that to like TikTok. I feel like my Instagram is more like serious. It's very just like Lexi Layne music. And I feel like my TikTok is a little bit more like of my personality. Like I'll do like the funny, speak over trends and stuff like that. So I feel like if people want more of like that version of me that's more like funny and like more like really, really me, go to my TikTok. If it's very like business and music and like my passion and everything, I feel like it's more Instagram.
I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing Lexi's mess and just start getting into the recipes and things like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I mean, maybe I will do a mini cooking series. I'll just do like one recipe and just see how people react and go from there. Who knows?
You thought Mariah Carey was like a joke and then it blew up, right? That cover for you.
Yeah.
It's if you're authentic in the kitchen, it's gonna go.
Yeah. Well, maybe I should start doing that.
It's okay. You can have that free advice, but I want food. I love
I got
food.
you. I'm gonna have to mail food over to Vancouver and send in a little package for you guys.
Deal. Or next time I'm there,
Yes,
we'll have a meal
there you
together.
go. Perfect.
I'll bring the
There we
incense.
go. I love it.
Why don't we why don't we talk about your forthcoming EP, the music, and just see where it goes. 6 songs. I think one of the tracks is an interlude. A few of the singles are already out, including the most recent one, which I believe was "The Devil."
Yes,
Right.
correct.
And when I saw the press release, I think it still said release date TBD. What's going on? When is this thing dropping?
Um, so I had a really cool opportunity pop up. So I'm in the middle of something right now that's really good. I
Opportunity.
can't say exactly what it is, but there was something offered to me that is having the EP hold up, and then something else was offered to me. So now I'm just in between these.
If I guess it, do you get to say it?
Um, I don't know. I don't know. That's why I'm like skirting around it. I have 2 offers at the moment.
I don't know why, but as soon as you said that, I immediately said, Butcher Baby's lost a lead vocalist, and this girl's got some
Oh, that's
chops. Is she gonna be the second vocalist in Butcher
that
Babies?
I can
I'm
say
listen,
no, that is not the offer. Even though that would be really, really sick. But yeah, I'm just in between 2 offer things right now. So that's actually put the EP on hold.
okay.
A decision will be made very soon, and then the EP will come out. It's definitely been a long time coming, but I'm not mad it's taken this long. I think everything has its time, its divine timing and purpose. So yeah, there'll be an interlude, and then there will be one more song, and that'll complete the first EP of the High Priestess Volume 1. Yeah.
Nice. I mean, I'm a big believer now more than ever that if you're not a certain level of artist, go for a waterfall
Hmm.
release. You know, like nowadays everyone wants the album out and this and that. You don't need that. What you need is consistency, right? Like we talked about this with socials. It's the same thing with like marketing. I tell artists like you don't need a press release. The press release is not important, but what's important about having a press release is that it signals that you have something big enough worth talking about, which, if you have a publicist, allows them to go back to the publications and just do that pitching process over and over
Yeah.
again. So, what makes more sense, Tom? Putting out two singles and then the album and having dead air for 9 months, or putting out 12 singles and literally being able to bug people for 12 months? I mean, that to me
Yeah.
is smart. If you're huge and you're Beyonce, do whatever the hell you want, that's
Yeah.
fine. But when you're trying to get attention, the more the
That's
merrier.
why we did it the way we did it. Because again, originally it was just the High Priestess as an album. And we decided to split it in half and do EP1, EP2. So the story kind of continues after EP1 is out. And I kind of like the idea of that better. I feel like the two EPs are different in certain ways, but then similar, I guess.
Yeah.
But again, it's like it just almost would have been like pointless in my mind to release like 12 songs. It's just like, let me just dump all this and then I have nothing. You know what I mean? Like, I
Yeah.
think it's so smart again to piggyback like when you're first starting out as an artist, like do the waterfall drop. It's going to have people more engaged in your music, more engaged in your brand, like, oh, on their toes. Cool, she just dropped a single. Is she going to drop a video? When's the next single coming out? Is there an album? Like you want to keep these people on your toes and I think that's why we decided to do it the way that we did.
The 2 EP thing, is this gonna be another one of the duality of you, where it's like heavy and light or different topics?
I don't want to give away too much because the first one's not out
Okay,
yet.
fine.
Um, like yes and no. I feel like the second EP is like harder. I feel like it goes a little bit harder. I feel like it like
Mm,
almost picks up where the devil kind of leaves off in a way.
right.
Um, Not that the songs on EP1 are not hard. Like Serpent is very heavy. Obviously, the Devil's heavy. I feel like it's just a different sound, and we're doing some things that we haven't done yet. So I'm excited to start dropping those, waterfall sprinkles in the future.
Nice. When is the cookbook coming
The
out?
cookbook. I should probably start writing it first. That would be cool though. I'd love to write a cookbook. I would be so for that. Maybe in when I'm like in my 50s or something, like a little bit more down the line.
So we'll work on it with our publishing
There we go.
company and get it out. I've already got it. You know what? You're gonna have tarot cards for each menu, and the menu will be on the card. It's gonna be so
I love
cool.
it. Like let's make the devil. Like
Exactly.
that'd be
Exactly.
really cool. That would be fun.
It'd be like a spicy penne carbonara or something.
Boom. Boom. Nailed it. With red chili flakes. Yep.
Extra.
There we go.
So you've got stuff. I mean, I don't want to like dig or pry, but you've got some cool stuff that you're gonna announce. In the next what week, month, year.
Um, I feel like it's just going to keep going. Like, yeah, I would think within the next month or so, EP1 will be officially announced. And then there's like so much more music coming that's already in the works right now. So I'm really stoked about that.
So I meant more like this stuff that you can't talk about. When are we
Yes,
gonna
that
know
will be
about that?
within the next month. 100%. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. What else do you want to talk about?
I feel like the last thing I'd want to talk about is my upcoming show that I just booked. So I'll be opening up for Deadlands at the House of Blues in San Diego, July 27th. Super, super excited
Okay.
about that. Um, Casey's a sweetheart. Her and I have been connected recently for the Pretty Cult collab that I did for The Devil, the new single. She was one of the influencers that was so nice to post it and promote it. And I saw she posted her tour, and I was like, "Hey, do you need an opener for San Diego?" And she was like, "Oh my God, yes, that would be so sick." It was such a long shot. I just DM'd her. I'm like, "Hey, do you need an opener?" She was like, "Yeah, here's my agent's info. Just email them and we'll figure it out." So I had my manager email, and they're like, "Yeah, you can, yeah, you're booked. You're done." So I'm really excited for that show. I start rehearsals back tonight with my guys for that. And yeah, I've always wanted to perform at the House of Blues. It's always been on my list. So I'm excited about that.
Nice. I'm actually happy you brought it up. I don't know if this podcast is going to air before that show, but you made like two really important points that I think are strong ways to kind of wrap up. One is you just DM this person
Yeah.
and you said it's a long shot, but I think that's so important for artists, just for people in general to take away is don't be scared. I mean, worst case scenario, you'll get a no. Maybe someone will make fun of you, but best case scenario, something huge might happen, right? Like take that
Yeah,
risk.
I think it's really important. It wasn't even something that was planned. Like their tour flyer was out for I would say like a good couple weeks. And I was like, ah, fuck it. Let me just try. I've spoken to her lightly. I don't know. Maybe they already have an opener. I didn't even know. I was just like, well, this is such a long shot. Let me just, you know, throw something to the wind and see if it, blows back my way. And yeah, we were lucky enough that they bit. They were all for it. So stoked about it.
Good for you.
Thank you.
Okay, last question, just because you brought it up. You mentioned, your management. How important for you is having a manager? How did you connect with the manager? What defines a good manager for you? There's a lot of artists, most artists don't have them. Some artists think they need to have them. Other artists say you don't have to have one, but you need this. What's your perspective?
I recently just got a manager who slash is also like one of my really good friends. Like 3 weeks ago. Like you don't need a manager. You don't. I've done it thus far up to like 3 weeks ago by myself. It's a lot of work. But again, like it's your brand. Like you should want to put the work in if you want this career. So for the longest time, I was doing emails, writing booking agents, writing label, doing everything myself. And it's to the point now that, my friend, she runs a very successful company. She's like, she's worked in music before. She's like, let me just manage you for right now until maybe somebody else wants to take the position. It's definitely helped a lot, especially because she's a good friend of mine. So we're on the same page. I think when somebody does get a manager, you need to make sure you're so locked in with that person because that person needs to have your best interest. They're representing you. And if they're
Mhm.
going to fuck around and be messy, then do it yourself. And I think that's why for the longest time I did do it myself. I also like having full control of my brand and my business because it is a business that I've created that I had to make sure I could really trust who was going to take that position for the time being. And she's great. She's so trustworthy. So it's cool. We'll just kind of tag team back and forth with, oh, I'll email this, I'll do this. And, so it's good to have one, but it's not necessary until like I feel like you're like really, really there. You don't need it right away.
Yeah. I mean, and when you do need it, if you need it, case in point for this entire conversation, right? Finding that someone that is
Yeah.
real is so important because you said it yourself. If they don't believe in your vision or if they're not keen on who you are, or what you're trying to say, then why are you trusting them with your brand and your work?
Yeah, it's so true. They have to have your best interest. Um, and it can't just be like for the money. Like it's got to be they believe in you and they can get you somewhere else, and they're helping, they're
Yeah,
guiding you is what they're doing.
absolutely. I really appreciate your time in this chat, Lexi. It's been awesome.
Yeah, this has been great. I had a blast.